state control.
Competencies are gone, creating value and building capacity, fostering confidence in industry. Let's see CIBN, the bankers guiding light. Let's see CIBN, it's on trust.
It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to the 6th edition of the CATE series. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be at this point in time. My name is Oyelayo Adekonye, FCIB, the General Secretary of the CIBN flagship branch, the Lagos State branch. The President, Chairman of Council, Shadow Institute of Nigeria, Sir, Dr. Ken Okpara, PhD, FCIB, First Vice President, Professor Pius Deji Olarewaju, FCIB. Second Vice President, Mr. Oladile Alabi, FCIB. The National Treasurer, Mrs. Mojisola Bakari Aseru, FCIB. The Registrar, Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Shaye Aojobi, PhD, FCIB. Past Presidents, past Registrars, here present, and senior members of the industry in attendance. Ladies and gentlemen, the CATE series was conceptualized by the CIBN USA branch of our prestigious institute. CATE means CIBN USA as the executive. The platform was created to bring top chief executives in the Nigerian banking space, the financial system generally, and other relevant sectors of the Nigeria economy to interact with our members and Nigerians in the diaspora. Information on business and the organization can offer. Today's edition of the CATE series is in collaboration with Lagos State branch. Will ventilate the scope of the CATE series. Once again, you are all most welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adekonye. I'm so excited to welcome everybody to today's edition of CATE series. As I said, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever we are across the globe. It's so nice having you with us. And please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. But having said that, I would like to recognize the presence of President and Chairman of Council, Dr. Ken Okpara, PhD, FCIB. You're welcome, sir, to this occasion. We're glad to have you with us. Now quickly, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Now quickly, I'm so excited, as I said, to welcome you all. As Layo has said, CATE series is just to bring Nigerians in diaspora closer home so that we can encourage them to invest at home. We heard a lot of stories about the not so good experiences that some Nigerians had in the past trying to invest at home. So we in CIBN USA branch, we just decided that, okay, this is what we're going to do. How can we help Nigerians in diaspora? We all work so hard wherever we are, and we want to invest back at home. What can we do? So we now put heads together, and that was how CATE series was birthed, so that we can, because in our interactions with some Nigerians, or a lot of Nigerians here, they don't know how to go about the aspirations to invest at home. They don't know which bank to go. They don't know which organizations or which financial institution to go to. So we now started putting up this together. We started with, because when we spoke with Nigerians in diaspora, what was uppermost in their minds was having properties back home in Nigeria. So we started with, well, our first president, the former president of our institute, came on board, as a first guest executive to give us an insight into investment in shares and stocks and shares and how to manage our portfolios. That was a very good one. Then we went on to mortgages. We had the MD/CEO of ASO Savings and the MD/CEO of Gateway Mortgage Bank, who are top mortgage institutions in Nigeria. They've come, they've interacted, and we've had some follow-up. And I know it's an ongoing thing. A lot of Nigerians in diaspora, they are now well informed about how to do the business back home. CATE series is different from a webinar, because in this one, it's very interactive. We want people, we interact with the MD. He gives, she or she that comes up, gives us their experience, getting up to that enviable position. And we just want to know how they got, what the experience has been. And then at the same time, they are also projecting the products that they have to offer. So on one part, they are encouraging, people are learning from their experiences, people are knowing how to go about things. And at the same time, they let us know what their organization or the banks or financial institutions, what they have to offer Nigerians in diaspora. This time around, we now decided also to reach more Nigerians in diaspora. We started collaboration with NIDO, which is Nigerian in Diaspora Organization. So we've been partnering with the New Jersey and the Atlanta chapters. We have Dr. Adeola Popola. I'm not sure if he's joined us, but I saw Mrs. Helen Abetuse. She's joined us. She's the president of the Atlanta chapter. She's here with us. So we've been collaborating with them to get more Nigerians to know about this program. And also with us, today we decided on this program also to have to collaborate also with we did with Ogun State chapter of our Great Institute, the last one. And then this one, we are collaborating with both Lagos State and Ogun State branches, just to have many more Nigerians come into the program. So as I said, I have the president or chairperson of the NIDO of Atlanta, Dr. Helen Abetuse, here with us. And I'm sure Dr. Adeola Popola will join us later on. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm sure by the time we finish this, we will have been enriched. We will be more confident in investing at home. And by the grace of God, we will continue to work, be an advocate for our great institute, the challenges of bankers, and then also encourage Nigerians to continue to invest at home. So please sit back and enjoy. And before we go on, I'd like to call on our president, chairman of council of our great institute, Dr. Kenneth Okpara, PhD, FCIB, to give us a word or two. Thank you very much. You're welcome once again.
Thank you, Mrs. Okuyemi. The guest speaker for today, Mrs. Shomefu, who is also the MD of Unity Bank, Registrar Chief Executive of CIBN, Dr. Sheye Awojobi FCIB. Please permit me to recognize and lay down protocol, because I'm not the speaker for today, is to, on behalf of the Board and Governing Council of Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, welcome you all to this CIBN US chapter of the CATE series. This is actually the 6th of 8 Unbroken. And in this session, it inspires, very educative, and provides insights on chief executive, how they've risen from the floor to the, up the ladder and also got sustained. This is quite exciting. And I want to assure participants that you are going to have a very good time. I have no doubt that Mrs. Chomef would do a very good job. This series today, Mrs. Chomef, it will be recalled, served as a co-chair at the last annual bankers conference, which of course had been alluded to be one of the best. So it's just to welcome you all and to say, sit back for a resounding and exciting time to hear from those that have risen to the top, how they've been able to get that. Once again, I welcome you all and ask that you sit, pay attention, and you would actually learn so much. Thank you, and God bless you.
So,
thank you very much, sir, for that beautiful speech, and thank you for your support. You had done part of the job of the moderator. I deliberately left out the part of the FD, our guest executive today, but to let everybody know, and thank you very much for doing that. Having said that, I'm going to call quickly on the Registrar, Chief Executive of our CATE Institute, to give us his own remarks. Thank you very much.
Very much, the chair of USA. Mr. President and Chairman of Council, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this first in the series of your activities after you were sworn in as President and Chairman of Council about a week and a half ago. Congratulations, sir. And I want to also welcome my sister, the Managing Director of Unity Bank, Auntie Tommy. God bless you, and you are most welcome. We are going to share from that your fountain of knowledge today. I'm so happy and glad that the CIBN USA has maintained this series, and there's 6 in it. The most important thing for me is the fact that they are balancing it, and the women are actually almost blazing the trail. And today we are having another very great woman. For us, we will sit back and enjoy that you have been able to offer. I know you are going to give us a very wonderful all-rounder approach. Both you put your experience in UBA Capital, put your experience in all the banks you have been part and pioneering managing director investment companies before Unity Bank. And so thank you so much. God knowledge, and to everyone a very good thing and good program to attend. Once again, I say welcome to everybody.
Thank you very much, dear Registrar. I now hand over to Opeyemi Oduwole to please properly introduce our guest executive for today. Thank you very much. Opeyemi, over to you.
Good afternoon, or good afternoon for those who are in the diaspora in the United States, and for those that are in England and in Nigeria, good evening. My name is Opeyemi Oduwole, and I'm going to be moderating this evening's session. We're going to have a fantastic time, and Mrs. Shomefu is ready to download everything and all the nuggets of wisdom that are in her. But as we go into that program, I just want to introduce you to the awesome Mrs. Shomefu. And I say awesome not lightly, as I have gone through her profile, and as I share it, I'm sure you will totally agree with me. So Mrs. Shomefu has 37 years post-qualification experience and 28 years in the financial sector. She is, as we all know, currently the managing director of Unity Bank, but that isn't even the most interesting for me. She has a very wide span in her career. She has served from serving in UBA to working with the setting up the UBA pension custodian, working and setting up as the managing director for the UBA Capital and Trust, went on to Unity Bank. She even had a brief stint in KPMG and then went on to Unity Bank, served as the head of the executive director, was head of the financial institution business, was head of treasury, and was the director, also in charge of the Lagos and Southwest business. So in banking, this is what we call an all-rounder. As in, she's done everything: investment banking, pension, retail, financial institutions, treasury. And apart from that, just as an icing on the cake, she also has executive training and qualifications from so many universities. And just to mention a few: Columbia, Wharton, INSEAD, and the amazing Harvard. So I'm so excited to be meeting somebody that has done so much, that has such a wide variety of experience, and is definitely bringing all that to bear to share with us of who she is, how she became who she is, and where Unity Bank is taking Nigeria to in its journey. Good evening, ma'am. It is a pleasure to have you on board.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Okoyemi. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am. So I'm just going to dive right in so that we don't, we get right into the meat of everything that we want to discuss. And I'm going to start from the beginning. We want to know how it was when you started. Tell us a little bit about your childhood. Share some fond memories of Mrs. Shomefun as a child, just tell us about you.
Okay, just with your kind permission, before I delve into that, I think it's proper that I greet the chairman and president, Dr. Okpara. Good evening, sir, and congratulations on your appointment. And my brother, Dr. Awojobi, I can't see him, but I heard his voice. And thank you, my hosts, I would say, Mrs. Okuyemi and Soji, great to see you. And Okoyemi, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's exciting for me as well to be able to share some of my experiences. Let me first of all say that I didn't quite recognize the person you were describing earlier on, but hey, here we are. I had a very simple and basic but very impactful childhood. I am the first of 3 children. My parents are were middle class. My father is dead now, but my mother is retired. My father was a university administrator. My mom was a teacher or was in teaching all her life, and she retired as the principal of a school. And you can imagine the kind of discipline that was in our household. My mom, at the time, I went to Holy Child College, Obayonde, if you know the school, and there was my mother is an old student of that school, and she actually taught in the school for some of the time I was there. So needless to say how difficult my life was at that time. I grew up even though we were just 3 children, I was surrounded by many people. There was no time in our family or in our household that we didn't have relatives or some family friend or someone living with us. And, between myself and my younger brother, 5 years difference, and between him and my sister, there was a 5-year difference as well. So for a lot of the time in my childhood, I was the only child, technically, but we were surrounded by family. So being the first of 3, of course, there was a lot of pressure about setting examples, good examples, and you had just to be on the straight and narrow all the time. So yeah, the house was always full with one person passing through or, staying there permanently. So that's what I would say about my childhood, yes.
I love it. And I think that for a lot of people that grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, now I'm being a Lagosian and I'm not in Nigeria, what you described is the reality of growing up in our society, where they say it takes a village to raise a child back in the day. And it was a lovely experience. Now, was there any particular relationship that, stood out for you between when you were younger and like into your university days? Was there anything that just, really, really had an impact on you as a young adult or as a teenager? And let me just put an add-on. Did you always want to be a banker?
Oh, no. I'll take both. Oh, no. I'll take both questions together, and I guess that would provide some insight into how I got to be in banking. I never wanted to do anything that had to do with any figures. I was okay in maths. I wasn't very good at it. I just couldn't be bothered. I was more of an arts person, and that's the truth. I didn't really like mathematics, and I passed it. I had a credit in mathematics, but that was the last thing on my mind. Of course, every child at one time or the other in their lives wanted to be a doctor. So, of course, I didn't miss that dream. Perhaps maybe in my first year in secondary school, I wanted to be a doctor. But then I couldn't stand the sight of blood, so I knew that wasn't an option. Then at the time, I wanted to be a lawyer, and, of course, that didn't happen either. And eventually, I decided that I would be a university lecturer, because I quite liked the academics, because at that time, my father had moved to the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, as an administrator, and I kind of liked campus life. And then he started insisting that I just had to go into university that year. I wanted to do A-levels like any other person, but because that was the last year that the universities were taking their entry exams by themselves, the next year was going to be JAMB. As a university administrator, he was very concerned about how that was going to work. So he insisted that I just had to go into university. Against my wish, I went into university that year. I was only 15 years old when I went into university. So you can imagine that I got stopped on the road and people asked me, are you a student or you're visiting your sister or your brother? Because at the time I was just going through puberty. I hardly, I had a low cut. I was just very, very, very young. But well, there I was in university at, I think 14 going on 15 of that year. And I had my life planned out that I was going to finish my first degree and then go for a master's and then go for a PhD and someday become a professor. Well, you asked if there was someone that influenced my life. I would say yes, because he is the reason, and apart from God, that I am where I am doing this today. The late Professor Aboyade, I don't know if anyone of you, the renowned economist, was at that time the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ife, and he happened to be an uncle of mine, a relative. In Nigeria, everybody who is related to you is either your uncle or your auntie, but he was actually my father's cousin. But he was someone that I admired very much and that I really looked up to, and I really wanted to be like him. And of course, because he was in the academics, I thought that was the natural line for me. So I finished my degree, and I was about to go and do my youth corps. I was just 18 when I graduated, and he asked me, so told me, what next for you? And I was like very excited. I said, I'm going to go into the academics, I'm going to take a master's, and I'm going to do. He said, no. Nothing like the academics for you. And I was shocked because he himself was an academician, he was who I wanted to be like. his wife, as a matter of fact, was and is still a professor. So I thought, why would he be telling me not to go into the academy? I said, go and be an accountant. And my first question was, what animal is that one? Who is that? And what is that? I mean, what do they do there? I didn't. He said, no, go and do chartered accountancy. And I was like, what? And I explained that it wasn't really my interest, but because I had a lot of respect for him, and it was at that time like I looked at him he was such a big deal for me. I couldn't say no. So I thought to myself, okay, I'll go and apply. He actually told me where to go and apply. So I said, okay, I would apply. And I knew that, I thought then that they would never accept me because my first degree was actually in English education, even though I did very well. So I said, okay, fine. Once I apply and they don't take me, I will come back to my academics. So I had my master's form in my hand. Then I started hearing stories about how people never pass ICANN exams. And I was like, me, that I'm not good in mathematics. I don't like anything. Arithmetic, I didn't really like maths in school. So I thought, well, I'm never going to pass these exams. But something happened. And I would say that is perhaps the second person I would say who influenced me. And I said, I said apart from God, it was the late Professor Aboyade on a very positive note. This one is not on a very positive note, but he helped me to be where I am today. And I am grateful. And I hope one day when I see him, I will have the boldness to remind him who I was and who I am. I was 18, as I said, when I graduated. I was about to go for youth service. And then I went to the office for obvious reasons. I wouldn't mention his name. I went to the office of a very renowned and respected accountant. I went with a friend who happened to be like a family friend of his. She was visiting from the States. So I went to his office. I will never forget that day. And I was very tiny. And I walked into his office with my friend. And he said, oh, young lady, what's your name? I told him, what are you doing? I said, oh, I just finished university. I'm going for youth service. And he said, oh, after youth service, what are you? I said, I'm going to be a chartered accountant, sir. I want to take ICANN exams. He said, he looked at me and said, what was your first degree? I told him, he said, you can never be an accountant. And he said it with so much confidence and so much, he said, no, you can never be an accountant. And I thought to myself, here is this big, it's like the owners of the profession telling you that you could never. So it looked like a dream that was dead on arrival. So when I left the office, I was very pensive and I thought to myself, Tommy, you better listen to what this man is saying. These are the barbars in this industry. It's like, sorry to use the example, but it's like Dr. Para telling someone he can never be a banker. Won't you just pack your bags and quietly leave before the prophecy comes to pass? So I was just about to give up. Then I thought to myself, who is this man telling me I could never be an accountant? And that really charged me and it propelled me. And I thought, what is in this thing that everybody is shouting or so afraid about? And I thought, for this same reason, I'm going to give it a shot. And if I don't do well, fine, but not because this man said so. Well, so I started these, I got into 3 accounting firms, top ones. I chose Pittsburgh, and Ugunde, which is now what is now the KPMG. And to the glory of God, I am not a studious person. I have never been. And somehow I passed all my exams first time, first try. I never had a reference. I never had to take any exam again. And to God be the glory, I qualified as an accountant 3 years later. Now the same man, many, many years later, tried to head on to. He didn't remember who I was. I was married then. He didn't remember who I was. He didn't know me. He couldn't reconcile me with that little girl that he told could never be. He's still alive. And I have never had the courage to remind him that he almost killed my dream. But one day, maybe one day, if I see him again, I will remind him and I'll tell him, thank you for pushing me to my dream. So, yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Oh, yes, you did fantastically well. And I do love the fact that you didn't only share a positive relationship story, but you also shared a relationship story which would challenge us in the journey of life, as to say, you are really the final say in what happens in your life. You can only, somebody else can only be the final say if you allow it. So thank you very much, Ma. I'm sure that was very encouraging for us. I was encouraged, so I'm sure that was very encouraging for someone. So I'm going to move just a little bit further in your journey and ask you a question that in this world that is so fast-paced now, right, I think is extremely, extremely relevant, which is, as a woman in finance, can you just give us like one or two nuggets? In the early years of your career, a young mother, then there was KPMG, which is consulting and can be very, intensive, and, banking and all that. How did you balance? Or is there even anything called balance? Let's even start from there. How did you balance? Is there anything you can tell any young woman on this, in our conference or webinar today, that would help them, find balance at this stage in their life?
Thanks, Okwe. Let me first of all start by saying that I was forced to balance, if there is any such thing. I was forced, and I'll explain why I was forced to find a balance. If I found one, I'm not sure I found balance, but I coped. I'm here today. When I left Pidmawick, I went to join another firm that had a different culture, and that was Arthur Anderson and Co. Anybody, which is what now evolved to become KPMG. They had a different culture in Arthur Anderson. I mean, in Pidmawick, female staff didn't go out of Lagos on audits. They respected gender and differentiated between kind of jobs a man and a woman could do. However, in this Arthur Anderson, there was no such thing as woman or man. Everybody did everything. So my first shocker was that I was posted to, I saw the roster. My first job was in Lagos and I was happy. And then I had to go to Jos, I went to Kano, I went to Kaduna and all that. They didn't really care. I got married while I was there. I was pregnant in the middle of, I don't know if Mr. Lemo is on this call, but Tunde Lemo was one of my colleagues, and oh my goodness, they showed me, I was like a toy to them. There was no such thing. We all did the same thing. They took care of me, looked after me, but you can imagine in a man's world, so to speak, you just had to prove yourself. Now, so that was my first plunge into how you needed to prove yourself, whether you are, regardless of gender. And then, sadly, 5 years into my marriage, my then husband passed away, and I was left with a young child of 5 years. And I didn't have the luxury of sitting down and being sorry for myself. I had to advance in my career because I happened to be, I think I was head of treasury or head of something in the bank I worked for then. After about 2 weeks, I needed to go back to work. And here I was struggling with a career, struggling with a 5-year-old child who had just lost her dad. I was also trying to deal with my own grief. There was no such thing as balance. And there were times when, so I had to learn balance the hard way. I had to learn, you just have to survive. When you're forced to and you're in the corner, there is no such thing as I'm a woman, so you make exception for me. You know, there's only a limit to where you can be excused, you know, and that's what I tell some of my colleagues, that being a woman is not an excuse for laziness. It's not an excuse for lack of performance. So what have I learned? One thing is that hard work will always speak. When you're diligent, you work hard, and you prove yourself at least the way you can, nobody can force. You cannot argue with results. No, you can't. So it's not about this person doesn't like you or this person, they cannot argue with your numbers or with your results. If you're good, you're good. And it's not about whether someone liked you or not. So that's number one. As a woman, we have to, unfortunately, we're still in, forget what they say about gender equality, sustainability, and all that. It's all nice and good on paper, but in reality, a woman has to go a step further in proving herself, you know, and you have to give the sacrifices. Second thing also is, I would say, personal branding. Women, and apologies to all the women on the platform, but, you know, I suppose I can speak freely here. We have a tendency to compete unnecessarily. We compete with each other. You want to be like that one, that one, that one, that one. And I like the quote by Osterwilde. He says, be yourself, because every other person is already taken. Just be yourself. Be the best at who God has made you to be. I am Tony. I cannot be like Okoyemi. I can see Okoyemi and admire things in her that I can emulate or copy, but I cannot be like Okoyemi because I'll be a poor copy of Okoyemi, who is an original of herself. And that's one thing I have learned. There are a lot of things that I like on people, that I like how they put. I can't, you know, on me, it won't look so good. And I think that's one thing that all of us as individuals, not just women, need to learn, that the best you can be is the best original of yourself. The best you can be is a poor copy of someone else. So just be yourself. That's number two. I've also seen that to survive continuous learning, you cannot stop learning. It doesn't necessarily have to be formal education. It doesn't have to be courses all the time. I love going on courses. One, even if it's Baba Black Sheep, they say that you will meet other people and you will learn something, even from conversations, from what people are saying, from how they do things. We're always learning. You meet people, you learn. So it's not just about formal education. Formal education is great, please don't get me wrong. But then you have to be open to learn and know that you don't know everything. You also need to take some calculated risks. I mean, I'm not an advocate of changing jobs every 6 months or 1 year, but sometimes you have to step into the water and find out whether you can walk. If you don't put your feet in water, you don't know. And so it's good to explore. I always tell people, I stayed 20 years in UBA, but I stayed 20 years doing different things. I must have had about at least 6 roles at different times when I was in UBA. I was MD of several subsidiaries. And when just before I left, I was moved completely from being an MD of a subsidiary that I started and headed for 8 years to commercial banking. And that is what has helped me to function better at the role I'm in today. So yes, take calculated risks. What else? I talked about personal branding. Have your own brand, have your own style, even at work, but make sure that it's a good style. Yes, you can copy from other people, but have your own style, have something that you are known for, that others would want to emulate. As I said, there's nothing wrong with being ambitious, but there's a difference between being ambitious and being aggressive, too aggressive. And I think that's where some of us get it wrong. Also, I would say never say never. anything can happen. The sky is the limit. My own story, I am a testimony of the fact that anything can happen. As long as you're doing what you're doing in good faith and correctly, the sky, as they say, is the limit. Let me just stop there before I take too much time.
I really, really, really love it. And let me just repeat back for the audience some of the things she said. Shomafu said, results speak, do more, know that you will have to sacrifice. Personal branding, have your own unique brand, be you. That's the best version of yourself you can be. Continuous learning is necessary. And then she dropped a very powerful nugget there. Even if they say blah, 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 she meets other people, you network. And when you network, you learn from others. Take calculated risks, be ambitious, and don't be not too aggressive. And Janoni once said, if your MD knows you're gunning for his job, then he probably won't give you the job. so be ambitious, and then never say never. Anything can happen. Thank you very much, Ma. I think that was really, really, really awesome. I was writing notes. I'm sure you could see. I had to take that down.
Sorry to put in. You asked me about work-life balance, and yes, I have my views on work-life balance. I don't think there's any such thing as work-life balance. What I think is, I would rather call it work-life balancing, because sometimes you downplay one and you have to, concentrate on the other. And I believe that a good professional or a sound professional is one who knows when to downplay one and when to, bring the other up. But to say work-life balance, oh, I must close at 5 so that I can go and do this and that, I think, honestly, it's a dream. And it's a dream that doesn't come true, at least not in today's world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I totally agree with that. Totally. So you've said so many things, you've done so many roles, you've moved, as in it's really amazing. Have you ever thought, I can't cope, I want to quit? And we're talking about mental health here, right? Where people feel, which is real in our world of today, as many leaders will tell you. And we have our Gen Zs online, and the way they move, as in, that's what I call it. They move. So when you are in that, I can't cope, I really, really feel like quitting moment, what do you do? You're muted, Ma. You're muted.
Okay, I think you asked that question the wrong way. You said, have I ever? I think the right way to have asked that question is, how many times or multiple of times have you said, I can't do this? And I want to tell you that that is something that I go through regularly, especially I've had different moments like that where I just feel, you know what, I'm done, time out, I can't do this. I can give you several examples, and it's not just in Unity Bank, because one thing that people who move from one job because there's a difficulty there, what they forget is that every job has its challenges, and the grass is always greener on the other side. When you get there, you find that it's artificial grass, and that's where you're coming from. It's actually a better deal. So look before you leap. That's one thing. But for me, I've had many times where I feel, you know what, I cannot do this anymore. I've actually even said it many times. But I find that when you have a dream or a vision and you're passionate about the work you do, passion is what keeps me going. Passion is what motivates me, the end goal. What do I want to see? The vision of where I want the organization to be, what do I want? And the fact that I want to impact, I want to create an impact. So you can't just walk away. When you have a vision of what you want to achieve, no matter the difficulty, you can't just walk. Even when you have, I want to quit moments, you will stay because passion, vision is what will wake you up the next morning and you grudgingly put on your clothes and, go again. That's what gives you the adrenaline, the energy. So have I had I can't cope moments millions of times, but guess what? The next day I'm there again, and the people who work with me know me. They'll just say, here she goes again. But when you have a vision to make an impact, then you won't quit. You won't quit, because it's not about proving anything. It's just about the fact that you know that there is an end goal. What keeps me going in Unity Bank, I must say, that Unity Bank is the toughest place I've ever worked. And it's the toughest because there are so many moving parts. It's a different, there's only so much, there are some jobs that when you're good at what you do, technical skills, whatever it is, will take you there. All you need to do is meet your targets, make the numbers, you're good. But this is not just about making the numbers. You are balanced. It's a daily balancing act. You're watching, so it's a different environment. The challenges are different. The needs are different, but it's also one of the most fulfilling jobs I've ever had in my life. And that is the truth. The mere fact that it's a different place and it's a mix of different, should I say, balls that you're constantly juggling is what makes it interesting. And that's what makes me wake up and go there every day, excited. It's a project for me. It's a project, and we're seeing the results of, the work that is being done. So for me, yes, I've had many I can't cope moments, but that is why I go back there because I know I have to cope, and I know that we must get to the end. What do I want to say to Gen Z? Gen Z are a blessed generation. What I've seen about Gen Z is that they're very impatient. They have no staying power, and this is not an insult. They don't have patience for when things are not working, but that is a fact of life. Things don't always work the way we want them to. And there are other people in the mix. Life just is not driven by just you. There are other people out there who are crazy, who will not do what they're supposed to do. There are people that they're lazy. They will spoil what you're doing. They will affect you. They will, so you have to, I think it's a Yoruba proverb that says, whoever it is that is not going to make you eat and be full, you will calculate their own and add it when you're cooking. I don't know how to translate that properly in Yoruba. And that's what I think our Gen Z need to understand, that life doesn't start and stop with them. There are other people who are not as smart. There are other people who are not as sharp. There are those of us who are the old ones who don't understand them, and we keep giving them mental health issues. But that's a fact of life. Everything you say now, they say, oh, mental health. Mental health. Yes, but mental health is in your hands. You have to decide that you want to stay calm. You don't get excited or upset or frustrated about. It's amazing what frustrates our young people. If we got so frustrated, then by now we shouldn't even be alive. But that's who they are. They don't have time. And I think on our own side too, being the older ones, we need to be a bit more accommodating, a bit more understanding, maybe create an environment where they can thrive, and then guide them properly. Because I think they need a lot of guidance. They need support in channeling all that energy that is so much in them to good use. So that is the only way I think they won't get frustrated. But I think they need to understand that life happens, and life it's not just about them. There are other people on this planet apart from them. Okay, and all of us have to coexist and work together. Okay, you're not a Gen Z, are you? So
I'm not.
no, but I mean,
but I do have them as members of my team. So I'm learning. I'm also learning.
Yeah.
But
So
one thing I love, go ahead, ma.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
One thing I love is that you have this has been an all-rounder. I mean, we've spoken to a single, you've spoken to a single parenthood, you've spoken to the young working woman, you've spoken to the multi-career moving person, you've spoken to the Gen Zs, you've spoken to somebody that is in mid-level. I mean, you've touched literally different phases, and I'm sure that everybody on board is very grateful. I'm now going to just go straight to the pinnacle before we go into the product section. What was the most difficult part about being an executive? When you transited from you know how they say that something happens when you transit from senior manager to AGM, then something happens when you transit from a GM to an ED. For the sake of all the different people on the platform who are in different stages, when you transited into an executive role, what would you tell your former self? If you could have that conversation, what would you tell your former self?
Yeah, what I'll tell to me, my former self, is that being smart is not just about being smart. Okay, as our own holy book says, wisdom is the principal thing. If you're smart, no matter how smart you are, smartness will get you to the middle level. By the time you're an executive, you don't, yes, you have to have been smart to get there anyway. But then you need wisdom, you need street sense, you need, it's not just intelligence. Intelligence will take you to middle level. By the time you're getting to an executive level, you need not just ordinary book intelligence, you need emotional intelligence. In fact, you don't even need, it's assumed anyway that you are intelligent. Okay, so you need emotional intelligence, you need maturity, you need good judgment, you need sensitivity. Now, what I have learned is that management is different from leadership. Totally different. When you're a manager, you have technical skills, you have knowledge, you have expertise. That's assumed. When you're a leader, you are an influencer, you are inspiring people, and you cannot take decisions based on just your emotions. You must have almost like a sixth sense. And that's what I've learned. I'm ordinarily a very emotional person. I'm very sympathetic, I'm very, I'm very compassionate and all of that. But sometimes, as a leader, not a manager now, as a leader, you put that emotional heart away and you have to take hard decisions. That's perhaps one of the most difficult things for me as a leader. You have to take hard decisions, not just, you may like the individual, but then the organization comes first. And you have to balance that with managing the effect of your decisions on that individual. So, hey, you have to fire an employee who hasn't done anything wrong, but the organization has no space for them. But he's a nice guy. Are you going to accommodate him at the expense of the organization? No. But are you just going to fire him and say, you know what, we don't want you here anymore? No. So there has to be a compassionate way, a wise way, and emotionally intelligent way of doing that task. And for me, that is one of the things that, transiting from to an executive behoves on us a lot of responsibilities. It's not just about knowing the work. Yes, technical skills, you can always pay for that, but you cannot buy wisdom. You cannot buy emotional intelligence, and you cannot buy maturity and the experience it takes to be a true leader. So a true leader is someone who is not just smart, but wise. And that's what I would tell to me if I was, going back. That's what I would say, that it's not just about being an executive. It's not just about rising through the ranks and knowing the work. That's a given. You have to know the streets as well, and you have to know how to combine everything together to get the best out of. And hey, you will always make mistakes. One thing I know is that there's nobody that is above mistakes. But when you've made a mistake, own up and admit that, okay, you know what, guys, I was wrong. And I think that's what people respect. Listening to others too is something that, when the higher you get, you find that if you're not careful, you become an executive and you'll be very, very lonely. People will watch you fall into pits, because if you are not a listening executive, if you don't like feedback, and people must always say yes, even when you're wrong, you will find out that there will be a lot of yeses that really should have been no's. And that's one thing that I've seen with a lot of executives who don't listen or who don't like negative feedback will always make a lot of mistakes. But when there is nobody that is perfect, and you must always have at least the odd one or two people that can tell you the truth, that listen, I think you could have done this better. I think, okay, perhaps you do it this way. But so I think, yes, so while you're being the big boss up there, you also have to make sure that information flows. It's symbiotic. That's what I believe. Yeah. Thank you.
Wow, that was awesome. That was just full of nuggets. So your mental intelligence and technical skills, done deal, if I heard you, Mark. But what I heard from you was wisdom, emotional intelligence, a listening ear, being a true leader, admitting your mistakes. Those are the things that make you stand out as an executive. It is no longer how good you are technically, because that's a given. It's now some other smarts. So for all those that want to be executives on this journey, Mrs. Shomefun has dropped it there for you, the areas to work on, the areas to focus on, and the areas to improve on, so that you become the best executive or version of yourself. Thank you. So we'll dive right into Unity Bank for me. I was going through some, reading up on Unity Bank, and I heard about the wonderful collaboration you did with Rifen. And I wanted to ask, because we're going to be talking about agric, we're going to be talking about healthcare, but from a bigger perspective, from an umbrella view, as the managing director of Unity Bank, why, kindly share with us the thinking behind the decision to partner with Rifen? Why did Unity Bank partner with Rifen?
Okay, let me put it this way. Unity Bank traditionally has been a market leader in the agri sector. There was a time that we had the highest portfolio. In fact, traditionally, we've been the biggest bank in the agri sector, even before agri became popular, because now there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of talk about agri, but because before the country even decided to focus on agri, Unity Bank traditionally was in the agri sector and big in the agri sector. And that's because we have a lot of branches in the agrarian business, so it was a natural fit for us. However, when the food security initiative started and CBN started working with the different associations, WIFAN, MAN, Maize Association, Cotton Association, and all of that, we were a natural choice because of our footprints in agri before now. So we were a natural choice. And so we worked with the CBN in putting together a framework. So it was, the CBN started the Anchor Borrower Scheme, but then we now worked with them to develop that scheme, and by trial and error along the line, we fine-tuned it until we have what we have today. So it wasn't something that we just jumped into. It was a natural fit for us because of our previous footprints in agric. So we were a natural choice for that as a partner, in that program. And that's where we found ourselves partnering with REFA, which has been quite an interesting journey.
Awesome. I just wanted to mention to everyone as we dive into the products that the product owners for the different products for Unity Bank are available to answer all the questions. You can put your questions in the chat box and we will be monitoring the questions, and you will get feedback live. And for anything that requires them to contact you, they will reach out to contact and have conversations with you in that regard. So please do direct your questions as we dive into the product side of the business of this webinar, which I'm sure is what everybody in the diaspora is waiting for. So talk to us about the SME banking that Unity Bank has and all the different products that feed out of that. You've mentioned that agric is something that Unity Bank is really, really good in and has been for a long time, but I know you also have an exposure in the health sector. I know there's also something with education. Well, I know it all pivots off the small and medium enterprise accounts. And I just want to add something as we are saying this. For those in the diaspora, this is not only for you to know, but sometimes when our family members wake us up at 3 a.m. in the morning because it is 4 p.m. in Nigeria to say that they want to do this or do that, this knowledge comes in handy because you can say this opportunity is available here, you can tap into this here, you can do that there. So this is two ways. It is also what the diaspora can do, but it's also information for those back home that might not know, and you can provide some sort of support. So on the back of that, back to where I was coming from, SME banking account with Unity Bank. What is it about? How does it play? How can the diaspora get involved? And what are the products? We'll break down the products, but just tell us about the account. Anything you want members of the people in the diaspora to know about the SME account in Unity Bank. Please go ahead, Mark.
Okay, let me start by saying that the vision of Unity Bank is to be the retail bank of choice. And if you're the retail bank of choice, that involves personal banking, individual banking, all retail products and SME products. So SME banking covers a wide range of activities. Let me start with agric. If we talk about agric, a few people might think, oh, farmers. Yes, we deal with farmers. We have over 500,000 farmers in our kitty that we bank. But it's not just about farmers. There are people that you call input suppliers. Don't forget that farming is no longer cutlass and hoe as it was before. There are people who supply pumps. There are people who provide the technical services like mapping of the land. It's very, very technical now. So there is a lot of opportunity in the agri-value chain. And I want to encourage our brothers and sisters in the diaspora to look at this area because agric is not going anywhere in Nigeria. It's not going away. We need, it's a fantastic substitute for oil exports, and the government, there's no government that will not push the agri sector, seeing what has happened in the last few years. It's not just about food security. We're now going into exports, and you'll be amazed what people are doing. You can be in the diaspora and still participate in some of this. Along the value chain, there is a lot of opportunity. There are people who sell tractors. There are people who lease tractors. There are people who are just in the mechanization. Okay, there are people who do processing. So along that whole value chain, there is a lot of opportunity for SMEs, and that's why we are there. So we don't just give loans to smallholder farmers under the Anchor Borrower Scheme. We also finance people along that value chain, those who do mechanization, those who provide logistics, those who, as simple as the bags that are used to pack rice, somebody supplies that. And there are mills, there are millers. So if you want to go into, there is nowhere, there is no segment that is not covered along the agri value chain, from small retail to SME to small corporate to large corporate. Everything exists under the agri value chain. And I want to encourage those of you in the diaspora to find out a bit about what is going on, so that you are not left out of the boat. So in 5 years' time, you won't come back and say, nobody told us. There is a lot going on in the agri sector, and people are doing great things. There are companies that provide just trucking facilities to move produce from A to B. All those things that you see on the shelves in some of our big supermarkets, they get there somewhere. People package it and deliver. So there is a lot of opportunity, number one. But let's leave agri. One other area we're concentrating on is the education sector. Education is another sector that is not going anywhere. People have to be educated, people have to go to school, and school business is good business, because you know that if you follow the cycle, there will always be school fees. School fees will be, they will collect, if the school is good, students will come, they will pay school fees. And even if you grant loans or you take a loan, you know that loan will be repaid, at a certain time in the year when school fees are paid. No matter, I know that is one thing that takes away a lot of money that is available in the wallet share of a lot of Nigerians, those who have children in school. In the health sector, especially post-COVID, there is a lot happening there as well. And while I agree with you that people in the diaspora may not directly benefit from this, but I know personally of someone who lives abroad and supplies pharmaceutical products to Nigeria. He has a thriving pharmacy in the UK, but he makes more money from supplying pharmaceutical products to Nigeria than, he supplies oil companies, he supplies governments, he supplies hospitals and different people. And he probably makes a lot more money than from opening his pharmacy every day in the UK. And so that is a business that people can look at. And it's good to find out which areas the government is encouraging. I know the health sector is one, and there are all sorts of intervention facilities to promote and encourage the health sector, small hospitals. So please, if you're in the diaspora, you're a medical person, you can collaborate with a few of your colleagues and set up a good hospital in Nigeria. And the way people do it now is you don't even have to be there all the time. You put people there and you come in, take all your surgeries, take all your cases and fly out. It's a model that has worked with a lot of people. And I believe that if it's done properly and professionally, it can work. What are the other things that we can do? Access to, we are also developing a mortgage product now, because I know that for a lot of people in the diaspora, that is one thing that is top on their minds. We are developing our own mortgage product, and as soon as that happens, we will put it out there and you'll see it. Mortgage that is affordable. The challenge with mortgage in Nigeria is that there's no long-term, we don't have long-term funding, but people are coming into the country with long-term funding that will enable banks like ourselves to provide the kind of mortgages that you are used to. in the diaspora, I mean, what is a 5-year mortgage? Come on. You're used to things like 10, 20 years, but by the grace of God, if some of the things that we are working on happens, then we will be able to provide longer term mortgages at reasonable interest rates. On the other side, on the liability side, we have a lot of products. We have our treasury linked notes. It's a liability product. So when you want to save money, you can save your money with us in the treasury linked product. It's a minimum tenure of 180 days. You enjoy your interest payment up front. The minimum amount is 100 million, but we don't have a maximum. You can use the product as a collateral to obtain loans up to 75% of the fund. So those are the kind of things that we can do. Yeah. And of course, you can open an account with us and use our mobile app to, you can encourage your relatives back home to open an account, and you can easily transfer money to them, because I know that people are constantly giving their family members money in Nigeria. So that's another thing. You can have a savings account, do a standing order, and have money transferred with ease. So those are some of the things that we try to do. We're not a big bank, but we try to be relevant in every strata of the society. So we have our youth banking products. We have something for the young professionals in SME. We have something for the large corporates, and we have something for the individual who just wants to save money and spend his money as and when it needs to be. So, yeah.
Very much, Ma. And for those that have further questions, and you have covered you've covered the Greek sector, and I just wanted to drop something when you talked about Greek. I remember sitting in a seminar and somebody was talking about supplying yogurt across the value chain. So every company in Nigeria that used yogurt was actually being supplied, I think 75% of them, by one particular company.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, and that's just an example of somebody that plugged into the value chain. So that person is not the end producer, but that person is somewhere in the middle there, supplying a wide network of end users. Just an example for the people in the diaspora to know that there's so many opportunities for Agri, for both on the supply side, for as Mr. Shomefo has said, education, the SME banking, and on the liability side, there are the treasury linked notes. So you can bring in your funding. Ma, I know, let me ask on their behalf. They're going to be asking about hedging. They're going to be asking about how they can hedge. And I'm not sure that is, but I want to preempt the questions that might come. Is there anything you want to say to them about hedging in any form? Because I know that the diaspora, they always ask about hedging. They have their dollars.
Yes.
How do they play that game? Any advice that you can give?
You have your dollar and you, I don't understand. You have your dollar and you need Naira.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Well, the CBN has provided all kinds of avenues where you can change your dollar for Naira. There was a time that there was a promotion that was even being done by the CBN. It's just to encourage people to transfer their money and change their money through the official routes. Because, yes, it's easy to say, oh, I'll give you $500 in America, please pay XYZ person. in Nigeria. It's all based on trust. And we've heard stories of things that happen when someone gives money to XYZ and then the money doesn't get delivered. So to avoid all those kind of things, honestly, it's easier if you just do it through the banks. And if you look at what you're going to get, at the end of the day, it's really not worth the risk, just, of course, there will always be the man, no man aspect where you change money with the people you know. But at the end of the day, even for our relatives, for all of that, it's best to just go through the banking system. And I'm not saying this because I work in a bank. Of course, the more effects that comes into the bank, the better for us, and through the system, the better for us. But at the end of the day, it's safer to go through the banking system. You don't have to worry about, will this person deliver? We hear stories every day of people who collect dollars and you don't see the naira, and vice versa. So honestly, it's best to just go through the official route. And in terms of saving, there is something called the domiciliary account. You save your money in dollars. You are a banker, you save your money in dollars or in whatever currency, and you can use it in that same currency. So you don't always have to convert it to naira. So that's what I would encourage you to please patronize us. It's not just in the diaspora that you can save your money in that currency. You can actually open domiciliary accounts in Nigeria and save your money in the currency of your choice. More commonly the naira, the dollar. You can save your money in dollars. And you can use your dollar card in any country of your choice. That's the thing. You have a dollar. But I'm not saying this is a peculiar to Unity Bank. No, it's not. But I'm saying that is a way that you can actually get the benefits of keeping your money in dollars and hedging your risk of devaluation or depreciation.
Very, very much, ma'am. I'm going to talk a little bit about CIBN now. You have served in many capacities, including the last role that you just held in terms of, as they said, the best annual bankers, conference. What footprints would you like to be remembered by in CIBN? You are muted, Ma. I think it has muted itself.
I'm sorry. That assignment for me, being co-chair and working with our very able chairman at the time, Herbert Wigwe, who happens to be the chairman of the Committee of Bank CEOs, was the first time I was really, really, really neck deep in CIBN activities. We would just attend meetings, and I was involved, and I'm also on the disciplinary committee, but that was my first, and it was a very fulfilling engagement for us, because we were just coming out of COVID, and I believe the previous conference was, I'm not even sure it was a hybrid conference, but this time we had a hybrid conference and it went so well. The feedback was great. And what would I like to be remembered by? Well, that I contributed I've been in banking. I'm a chartered accountant by training, and I must say I'm not, regrettably, and I'm not proud to say this, but I'm not very involved with ICANN because I'm now in banking. And I believe that this profession is noble. It touches lives, because when someone gives you their money to keep, they're giving you their life. Because I'm assuming that money is hard earned. It's their sweat. It's their effort. And when someone works from the first day, whatever job they're doing, to the end of the month, and then they keep their money with you, it's a piece of their life that they're giving you, or should I say their livelihood. And it behoves on us to be responsible. One thing I would like to see is, unfortunately, our profession, like everything else in the world, it's not just in Nigeria, people have thrown ethics out of the window most times. And sometimes there's a very thin line. You don't even know what is ethical and what is not anymore. Anything now goes. But I would like to see that at least I lived, I served, and I was fair in my dealings. I was, as much as I could, I did my best. I served my customer correctly. They may not always be happy, but at least they will know that I was fair. Because it's impossible to make everybody happy. Only God has the capacity to do that. And if you spend your life trying to be sure that everybody is happy, then nobody will be happy, including yourself. So I would like to know that I contributed my quota. I helped. I'm somebody that believes in developing people. If you just pass through life and nobody learns anything from you, you don't help anybody to get up and you're just there all by yourself, then I must say that that's a useless life that has absolutely no impact. So I would like to know that I have impacted some lives, that maybe someone watched me, maybe I did one or two things right, and because of that, they decided, okay, yeah, I want to do this path. I would also like to be remembered as, in the course of my career, I helped people to develop theirs. You know, the other day I was talking to someone today, and that I had the pleasure, it gave me a lot of joy to write a reference to the central bank for the appointment of someone who started his banking career with me, to be executive director. I had tears in my eyes when I was, and that gave me a lot of joy, because there's no point being a lone star. There is no such thing as a lone star. The more, the merrier. When you watch people that learned under you, even before I became a bank MD, there were a lot of people that trained under me in Anderson. There were bank executives, bank MDs, bank EDs, and I was very proud. It didn't make me feel bad. I didn't feel I was left behind. No, I was proud to say, oh, this person trained under me in so and so place. The race is not for the swift, not for the wise. Everybody has their own path. So it's always good to stay in your own lane and follow the path that God has designed for you. And for me, I would like to know that I have a legacy. I have trained a lot of people. People have passed through me, and they are big executives. I am happy, and I want to do even more of that. That's what I would like to know.
You know what? Do you know why I love your answer? Go ahead, Ma. Now, I was about to say, go ahead, Ma. Go ahead.
And also that we contributed something to the institute. So I'm glad I participated in that program last year, because at least I know that yes, it helped to, and I pray and believe that the next conference will even be better, because without boasting, we set a standard, and that standard must be beaten next year by God's grace. And I know my big brother, Mr. Wujobi, will make sure that happens.
I'm sure he will. Yes, so I was going to say that I love your answer, because it dovetails right into, as we start to wind down. But 1 second, Ma, just to redirect everyone again, that if you have inquiries about the products for Unity Bank, they've dropped in the chat the email addresses of the people you can contact. You can send them emails, their official emails. They've also dropped the features of some of the products. So please go to the chat and go through. And if you have any interest, please send them emails. I'm sure they're looking forward to hearing from you. So back to our question as we start to wind down. Did your mentors, because you talked about helping people, and usually people that like helping people are being helped. That's why they like helping people. So did your mentors evolve as you moved up the corporate ladder? I'm not even going to ask if you have mentors. I'm sure you did, but did they change? And if they did, how did you know who part-time, per season? Did you just meet people? Did you have a gut instinct? How can somebody that is coming up the ladder know when to adjust, evolve, and navigate when it comes to mentoring? Please go. Yes, ma'am.
I have a different view about mentoring because there's one person, and I can say it on the platform, that influenced me a lot in my career at the onset. And I would go to her for advice, I would go to her for counsel. And that's Mrs. Funke Oshibodu. She was my senior in secondary school, and if you recall, she was one of the first female bankers, and she's had she's one of the leaders, female leaders in banking. So at the early stages of my career, I would go to her and get her counsel. But I would say that for me, I have different mentors for different things. Some of them are not even bankers. I have people I go to for life in professional life advice. I have people that I would just, and there are people who have helped me to develop professionally. One of the greatest schools that I went through was sitting on the board of UBA pensions. And I owe my former boss, and still my boss, Mr. Tony Elumelu, a lot for that, because he put together a sound board. We had people like Mr. Victor Odosi, who was a renowned CBN official, and then his wealth of knowledge on sitting on boards is second to none. We had Mr. Rewani, who I still regard as a mentor, because I go to him, I seek his advice, I bounce things off him, and he does a lot of work for us in just guiding us through things in the bank. So I have different mentors for different things. And a mentor doesn't necessarily have to be someone that is in the same field. They don't also have to be someone that is very senior to you. You can have mentors even at your level. You can have people, I have people that I speak with who are either female MDs of banks or chairmen of banks and are female. And we meet as much as we always promise to meet every quarter, but that never happens. But whenever we meet, we catch up. Someone like, I can mention her name, Bola Adeshola, has been a friend from childhood. Bola Adeshola is now chairman of Standard Chartered Bank. Before then, she was MD. Chairman of EcoBank. Before then she was MD of Standard Chartered. When Bola and I meet, we speak a lot. We share things and say, "Oh, Toms, what's happening?" And you can, even if we're standing, we catch up. So a mentor does not necessarily have to be someone that is senior to you or above you. It could just be someone in the same field you share ideas, or someone who has walked that path longer than you. You will always have something to learn. And guess what? You can learn from your subordinates as well. Because subordinates, when they give you feedback, it's a kind of mentoring, because they keep you on the straight and narrow. they guide you. So as you don't, that's why, I mentioned that feedback is important. You need to hear not just from your bosses, but from your subordinates, because it's a two-way thing. So yes, those are the people that have shaped my own career as I've walked this path. And I'm never shy to ask questions. I'm never shy to have a lot of big sisters in the profession. I have a lot of people who have left banking that I just call, and sometimes I just rant, and they listen, and they will have advice. I have several people like that. So yes, mentors play a major role. Not because you want to copy them, but sometimes you just need to talk and have someone who is not in your situation at that particular time listen to you and give you good advice with a very clear mind. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ma. There were a few things that were very significant as I go into the last question that I want to just reemphasize as we go on. One, your mentor doesn't have to be somebody that is, far above. It can be a peer that has just been longer than you, or who has certain skills in certain areas and you can learn from them. Two, your mentors can be your juniors because they give you feedback, and the feedback can also help you to navigate as you go along in your career. And three, that mentoring is very important, but it doesn't always have to be formal, right? As in sometimes it's an informal catch-up kind of conversation that, is the mentoring. So down to my very last question as we close, how do you relax? Do you have hobbies? Any special talents you want to share? How do you distress?
Okay, I want to say something just before I answer that question. I want to say something about mentoring. One of the things that I'm careful to say this, but I think it's a pitfall that we should avoid as women. I'm talking to the women now. When you're mentoring someone, it doesn't mean that you're better than them. So please don't be patronizing. It's irritating. A lot of female mentors do that when they're talking to other women. They talk down and you're teaching them as if you're teaching them how to walk. No, you're supposed to mentor them and guide them in the right direction. And you can put a mentee off by the way you speak with them, because the person is not coming to you because they're stupid or they don't know what to do. They're hoping to learn a thing or two. But I find that there are people I speak with and they're patronizing all the time. They are always giving advice, always. They always have something to say. And they never listen to advice from other people. That is not a good mentor. So when you're mentoring, listen to the other person and don't talk down, don't be patronizing, just by the wayside. How do I relax? I love to cook, and I must say that I'm quite good at it. I may not look it, but I love to cook. When I have time, I like to experiment in my kitchen. I also love gardening. I love plants. I love to tend to plants. I love a lot of, and I love, perhaps the biggest for me is home decorating. If I wasn't in a bank MD, maybe the business I would have explored is interior decorating. But I doubt that I will make money because I really like to, I think I'm good at it. Let me put it that way. Those are my talents. I love to cook. I love interior decorating, and I like to relax. I love my own company sometimes. When I travel, I like to, just do things I enjoy. I go to dinner by myself if I don't have anybody to go with. If my husband isn't there, well, why not? I eat good food. I relax. I go to the spa. It's good. It's what I want to say is that as professionals, we must have what you call me time. So just do what you enjoy. If it's that you just want to sit down and do absolutely nothing, then so be it. Find your own happy place, let me put it that way, and stay in that happy place, even if it's just for 10 minutes. It makes a world of difference, and it helps to keep mental health. So yeah, those are the things I enjoy doing.
Oh, I love it, love it, love it. When you said cooking, I was like, wow.
I cook Nigerian, I cook English, I cook.
Okay, now.
Oh yeah. When you're in Nigeria, you just give me a buzz. I'll sort you out.
No problem. Invitation received.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much, ma'am. On a more serious note, on a very, very serious note, you have inspired, you have taught, you have dropped real life nuggets, you have shared wisdom, you have also been vulnerable, which we really do appreciate. So thank you for even taking out time. We know you run a very busy schedule. Thank you for being open. Thank you for sharing of your wisdom. Thank you for coming to the CATE series. We are extremely grateful. And I don't know if anybody in the executive has anything to add, but before we go, I just want everybody to know that CATE Series 7 will be coming around very soon, and we should keep our eyes out for it. It is going to be phenomenal. And for Mrs. Shomefu, thank you again, Ma. It was an awesome pleasure speaking with you on behalf of everybody else. Over back to you, Mrs. Opiemi.
Thank you very much for having me, because I know you had a choice of so many executives. Thank you for having me. And thank you very much, Okoyemi, for making this a lot of fun for me as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma.
Wow. That's been a swell time we've had with Madam and Okoyemi. Thank you so much. I'm sure everyone has enjoyed. I've been receiving a lot of messages on my phone, how people have enjoyed this session. And we thank you very much, dear MD. We thank you for taking the time to be with us. Thank you so much. And I'll take you up on that offer. When we are in Nigeria, we'll definitely get in touch with you to come and eat some Nigerian foods. We've missed them, so we're coming. Yes. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed this session. Thank you. And thank you, Okoyemi. Before I call on the person to do the vote of thanks, I want to quickly recognize the presence of one of our past presidents, Otumba Debola Oshibogun. She's joined us, and actually she's the person that facilitated the MD that came in here. We always thank her for her support. Thank you very much, Dr. Debola Oshibogun. Thank you so much. We are so glad having you here with us today. Thank you, and thank you for everything.
That's one of my big sisters.
I know.
Good evening, Auntie Debola.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Deborah. Also, I mentioned earlier that we're in collaboration with the NIDO, New Jersey and Atlanta. Dr. Helen Abertuse was here when I was introducing them. And later on, Dr. Adeola Popola came on board. You know, he's been very active. Both of them have been active on the chat platform. They've asked a lot of questions, and I know that we can take it up from there. And very, very soon, I just want everybody to know that our biennial conference is coming up in August by the special grace of God. We hope that we'll all be able to meet to have these more roundtable discussions about all these products, all the things that the banks in Nigeria can do, encouraging Nigerians to invest at home without any problem. So please look out for it. The flyers will soon start going out. The invitation have been going out, and we get more. And Madam, we hope we'll have the privilege of having you with us at the conference. Hopefully.
You never know.
Yes. Nothing is impossible, and I'm sure we'll have you around. So it will create more opportunity, and it's happening in New Jersey, you know. So we're going to have all this, everybody coming together to discuss more, interact more on what Nigerian banks can offer Nigerians in diaspora. So on this note, I'm going to call on. I'm calling on Mr. Peter Ashadi. the chairman of the Lagos branch of our great institute, Mr. Peter Ashadi, FCIB. Please come on board. Thank you very much.
Wow, 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 wow. It's been a wonderful evening. A lot of things just work together. First, let me acknowledge the President and Chairman of Council, Dr. Ken Okwara, FCIB. It's a pleasure to have you on this a wonderful session. And all of the past presidents, all of his holders, present council members, I want to recognize while standing on other existing protocols established. I want to commend once again the US branch of CIBN for these exceptional initiatives and that is adding value to this generation. And it's indeed one of the, that underscore one of the cardinals of what CIBN stands for. This is a very welcome initiative, and that was why when we had the opportunity during the discussion to collaborate, we did not even take anything at all, but just signing that Lagos State branch will collaborate, and not only for this session, for more sessions to come, we're going to be collaborating with the US branch to do more of this wonderful session. Coincidentally, our facilitator today, Mrs. Shomefun, we happened to work together in UBA. We work very, very, very closely together, very, very closely together. A senior auntie that I will learn a lot from. I was quite very excited seeing her, you know, and that is just who she is, an embodiment of experience across lines. This evening, sincerely, has been an inspirational evening. We've learned a lot, climbing the leadership ladder. And I want to say this is just the beginning of what you will learn more in our CATE series. We're bringing forward, you know, people that is make mark as far as this industry is concerned and that can bring value to table in impacting on our investment decision and our career life, which has been displayed this night. On this note, let me thank everyone that has taken time to attend this session and really echo the August seminar or the conference that will be coming up. And that is very, very, we look forward to it, and we will ensure that we at Lagos, working together with the US, we are out to make a very impactful mark in the annals of CIBN. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening in every part that are present on this call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Ashadi, FCIB. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the support to you and to your members. On this note, I'm going to call on Dr. Segun Oshadare, the chairman of Ogun State branch, whom we collaborated with earlier. You know, I mentioned them that we had collaborated with them, and then before Sterling Bank MD came on board, and now the Unity Bank MD. We're going now to commercial banks, so that's it. So Dr. Segun Oshadare, over to you, please. After which we have the CIBN anthem.
Okay, let's have the closing prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you because of the CATE series 6 that have just been concluded now. We appreciate you on behalf of the CIBN. Thank you for what we are enjoying in CIBN. We also appreciate you for the new president that are just coming in. Thank you for the successful inauguration. We appreciate you, Lord, for the way you have helped our dear Mrs. Oluwatomi Shomefun to do a wonderful delivery this evening. Father, we thank you because you have shown that she's an amazing. Thank you because of the way you have spoken through her and has given us the assurance that for those who are outside this country, they can get the best of investments in their country. Oh Lord, we thank you because of everything that has been done. And we are committing accept to your hand that from this moment, Ms. Shomefun will continue to receive more blessing from God, wisdom and understanding in Jesus' name. For our president and every other person on this call, you continue to bless us. And for CIBN, you continue to bless us so that we can get more of these benefits. For the CATE series, we pray that this will continue to be very, very enriching and more people will benefit from it. And the purpose of the CATE series will continue to be fulfilled in Jesus' name. Thank you because you have done it so long. We commit every other person into your hand that God will be with us and will definitely help us to achieve all our dreams and goals. And like Mrs. Shomefa said this evening, God will give us grace to be ambitious. Why not aggressive? And then we will ensure that all our goals are met in Jesus' name. Thank you for answering our prayer, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Wow, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. I believe some people would like to visit with the MD if she has some time, just to interact with her and just have some fun with her. And maybe we'll start with dear patroness. I forgot to mention that Otumba Debo Oshibomo is also a patroness. So she's been very supportive. I don't know if she has one or two things to say to Madam now. Over to you, Deborah.
Thank you very much, Chairman of USA Branch. And anytime I consider that branch, I'm always very happy. One, that I launched it during my tenure. And secondly, because even as the matron or the patron of the organization, I am seeing it grow. And so I really want to commend every member of that association. And secondly, I also want to say a big thank you to Tony Chumefo for accepting to do this, to come and share experience with all of us today. I know that we have all learned a lot from Tony. And you can see how unassuming she is, how simple she is, that anybody that knows her will probably see her as a friend rather than as an MD of an organization. And so we just pray that the Lord Almighty will continue to guide you through. And as you take your steps, continue on this trajectory in the financial industry. The only thing I would want to add is you have confirmed that you like to mentor, and you know that CIBN has a mentoring scheme. And so I'm just going to appeal to you to kindly be one of the mentors in that scheme so that people younger ones can be mentored by you, which you know, which you confirm that you enjoy. And at the same time, you are also paying your dues to the institute by bringing up other bankers in that regard. So thank you once again for being there, and we look forward to more relationships with CIBN. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Otumba Adebola Oshibogun. Our registrar is still here. I think that our president I'm sure he's very busy, so I don't think he's here with us anymore, but the registrar is here. So maybe he wants to say just a word or two to our MD of today.
Thank you very much, Auntie. I've enjoyed my evening very seriously. I can tell you that, Auntie Tommy, thank you so much. You didn't see my face when I was talking that time. You have really, really added the value that we know you to be of. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot. So much that I can tell you that I look forward, saying you should come and mentor me to become an MD.
Yes.
And Tuma, thank you so much, man. We cannot thank USA Branch enough. And the fact that you are making these to really be something that when we play back on the previous series, we always find out that the latest is always, giving it a kind of tonic more than the previous ones. And I do hope that everyone will be in US to really show that there are a lot of opportunities in Nigeria. Once again, I want to say thank you on behalf of the new president and the entire management, council, and the members. Auntie Tommy, you have been giving a tall order by Otumba. Come and mentor all of us that are even looking like we are big boys. Come and mentor us. We need to be mentored. Thank you so much, man. God bless you, man. And I'm happy to announce, Otumba, our prelate has been released.
Hallelujah. We thank God.
Yes. It was released this evening.
Okay.
And
We
thank
thank
you,
God
man.
for that. Thank you so much, Adria Registrar. You're always there for us. Thank you for your cooperation all the time. We really appreciate you. I don't know if the NIDO presidents are here. Dr. Helen Abatuse, is she still here?
I'm sorry,
yes, I'm here. Thank you, Madam. This is Helen Abasute. I am the president of the Nigerians in Diaspora Atlanta chapter. And I'd like to let everybody know that I really enjoyed this session. It's been very informative, and I look forward to more of it. And I really appreciate you getting me into it. Now you got me worked up. I have so many questions, and I'm going to be reaching out to you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Sally, thank you, Sally. Yeah, Sally, thank you very much, Madam Sally. She was the one that introduced Madam Okuyemi to me, and we've been communicating ever since. So I look forward to more of this. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, don't mention it. It's a pleasure. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know if Dr. Popola is still here. Dr. Adela Popola, can you just come up and say a word or two? Okay, maybe he had left. Okay. Dr. Adela Popola, please. I think he had left. Okay. I think if Madam still has some time, we can just leave anybody who wants to just say or ask one or two. But questions should please go to those names and emails that have been given. This is just visiting, and we just round up in a few minutes. Thank you very much.
I just want to say, can I say what?
Sure, Madam.
Yes, I want to thank the guests, Mrs. Tomi Shumefun, for the it's a very interesting the interesting lecture because I learned a lot from my background, and I'm happy that it's for me fair, great fair, Mrs. Shumefun, and we have something in common because I love cooking too. So I would love to see you more and learn more from you because my hobby is cooking. I can cook for 24 hours. I love it. So thank you very much for meeting you, and I wish you all the best in your new office. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you in America. We women here will give you a real warming reception in America, I promise you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Mrs. Ige. She's one of our solid members in USA branch. We have quite a number of our members
madam.
here.
My name is Nathaniel Folari.
I was just going to introduce you, sir, that we have our executive patron here, Chief Nathaniel Folari. He's always been a real support for the branch as well. And I just want to quickly call on him to visit with our MD, our executive guest of today.
Madam, thank you so very much. I have written down so many quotes from you, and as I write them down, I put your name. So when I start using those quotes somewhere, I will keep quoting your name. I've learned so much from you. It's fantastic. This was a fantastic session we cannot forget, and I'm sure the session will play over and over again. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Chief Folari has been a solid support for us. He's been there for us all the time. He was the national treasurer of our great institute, and he relocated to the US, and we just grabbed him. And thank you, Mr. Registrar, for introducing him to us. He's really been there for us. He's helping us. I really appreciate all that you do. Thank you so much.
That's my mentor.
Thank you.
Chairman of chairmen.
Our registrar.
Ma, good evening, ma.
We love you. We thank you for your support all the time.
Thank you, ma. Thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much.
I would just want to add my thanks to Madam Tomi. Okay, the thanks is not just for today, but for maybe 1.5 decades of solid support. When I was regional director for Ikeja in 2005 and 6, a lot of success could be attributed to this wonderful woman you see here. Very unassuming, very, very unassuming. When the RCCG branch was opened, she was there by 7 a.m. just to ensure that the GO was there to help me personally. My appreciation, I didn't want to get emotional, but you know, it's not today. A lot of people met you today, but you've been there for close to maybe 15, 20 years past, and you're a wonderful woman, I can say it. Some of us could not be where we are today without you, and God will continue to bless you and empower you and lead you to do all the things you have done. God bless you, madam. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Martins. Our MDs, like I've known you for a long time because Mr. Martins had told me so much about you. It's like I've known you. I just want to say thank you for all you did for him and all you are doing for us. Everybody has enjoyed today. And I don't know if we still have anybody who would like to speak. The floor is open without taking too much of Madam's time. Just short. Please. We've really enjoyed you, Madam.
I just wanted to also add that when Madam Tomi comes to the United States, just like Pastor Mrs. Ige said, it's going to be Atilogu dancers from the airport. Okay. It's going to be Atilogu dancers. Like Idi Amin will say, we shall retaliate when you get here.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Oh. So, okay. I can't see any hand up, so I'm believing that everyone who wanted to speak had spoken. I want to thank everybody. Madam, Mrs. Tomi Shomefun, we really, really love you. We appreciate you. We thank you for being on this program. And as you can hear from everybody, we've really enjoyed being with you. You've been an inspiration to all of us, you know, everybody. Nobody will go away from this program without having learned one or two things from you. And I personally had learned a lot from you. So thank you very, very, very much. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for the ESCO of CIBN. I see some members here. I see our other members here too are here, who've been here with us since the beginning and they're still here. Thank you so much. We all work in unity. We all work together just to make sure everything is okay. Here, I saw the former branch chairman. I'm not sure if he's still here with us. Thank you for being here with us, Mr. Mosun. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. So I think without any further questions, we're going to release Madam now, dear Mrs. Tomi Shomefun, to go and have a good night rest. Thank you very much, everybody, and good night, good afternoon, good evening.
Sorry,
everybody.
Madam.
God bless you.
Sorry, Madam. Can the Lagos State branch folks and the members of the CATE stay back behind for a while? No, not Madam Tomi. Sorry.